Long ago, in the big kingdom of Ife, there lived a strong king named Oduduwa. He was a brave fighter, feared by his enemies and loved by his people. But even with his power and riches, King Oduduwa wanted something more, something that would make him better than everyone around him. One night, as King Oduduwa lay in his big royal bed, he could not sleep. He had a strange dream. In this dream, he saw an old calabash pot glowing with a bright light. From inside the pot, a voice spoke to him, "Oduduwa, you want knowledge. If you show you are worthy, you will have the wisdom of all ages." King Oduduwa woke up with a start, his heart beating fast. He knew then that he must find this special calabash pot, no matter what. The next day, he called his council of wise old men and advisors. "I have had a vision," he said loudly, "a vision of a calabash pot filled with knowledge beyond our dreams. I must find this pot and take its wisdom for myself." The old men warned the king that this journey would be very dangerous. "Great Oduduwa," they said, "the path to true knowledge is full of troubles. You must be ready to face hard tests that would break weaker men." But King Oduduwa did not listen. He gathered his bravest warriors and set out on a journey that would take them across big deserts, through thick jungles, and over tall, dangerous mountains. Their first big problem came in the desert. They met a huge snake, coiled up with eyes like fire and dripping poison from its fangs. The warriors were afraid, but King Oduduwa stood tall. With one swing of his strong sword, he cut off the snake's head, and they could pass safely. Next, they came to a wild river, with waters churning and splashing so hard it seemed impossible to cross. But the clever King Oduduwa made a big raft from the trees on the riverbank, and they sailed across the dangerous waters to the other side. As they got closer to their goal, they entered a thick jungle full of scary beasts. Oduduwa's men grew tired and scared, but their king led them onward, never giving up. At last, they saw a huge mountain, with the top hidden in clouds. On top of this mountain, King Oduduwa knew, was the famous Calabash of Knowledge. The climb up the mountain was very hard, and many of the king's men could not go on. But Oduduwa kept climbing, thinking only of the prize waiting for him at the top. As King Oduduwa and his warriors went on their journey, they faced many big troubles that would have made weaker men give up. First, they met a giant snake in the desert. Its eyes burned like fire, and its big teeth dripped with poison that could kill. The warriors shook with fear, but King Oduduwa stood brave. With one mighty swing of his strong sword, he chopped off the snake's head, and they could walk past safely. Next challenge was a raging river, with waters turning and splashing so wildly, it looked impossible to cross. But the clever king made a huge raft from the trees on the riverbank. They all climbed aboard and paddled hard across the dangerous waters until they reached the other side. As they got closer to their goal, they entered a thick, green jungle. This jungle was full of scary animals and beasts. Oduduwa's men grew very tired and afraid, but their king kept leading them forward, never losing hope. At last, after much hard travel, they saw a massive mountain reaching up into the clouds. Oduduwa knew the famous Calabash of Knowledge lay at the very top. The climb up the steep mountain was the hardest test yet. The path was rocky and hard. One by one, Oduduwa's men grew too exhausted to go on and had to turn back. But the king pushed onwards, step by step, never taking his mind off the precious prize. Higher and higher they climbed, until only a few warriors remained with Oduduwa. Their legs burned and their lungs felt like fire, but still they climbed. Finally, they reached the very top of the huge mountain. Oduduwa's remaining men collapsed to the ground, too tired to keep going. But the king stood tall, looking around with pride at what his strength and courage had helped them achieve. In front of them, sitting atop a rock, glowed the ancient Calabash of Knowledge. Oduduwa felt his heart leap with joy to see the goal he had struggled so hard to reach. When King Oduduwa and his few remaining men reached the top of the huge mountain, they saw a strange and wonderful sight. In front of them stood a very tall figure, wrapped in shining gold robes. "Welcome, seeker of knowledge," the figure's deep voice rumbled. "You have proven yourself strong through many hard tests, but one final challenge remains." With a wave of his hand, the golden figure made an enormous crack appear in the ground. This crack split the mountaintop in two, forming a deep, wide canyon. On the other side, Oduduwa could see the glowing Calabash of Knowledge sitting on a rock. "Cross this big canyon," the figure commanded, "and the wisdom you seek will be yours." Oduduwa looked down into the dark, seemingly bottomless pit between him and the prize. His heart pounded in his chest, but he knew he could not turn back now, not after all the difficulties he had conquered. Summoning all his bravery, Oduduwa took a few steps back. Then he charged forward and leapt with all his might over the gaping canyon. Time seemed to freeze as Oduduwa soared through the air. The warriors gasped, sure their king would fall to his death. But with a mighty thud, Oduduwa's feet landed firmly on the other side. Without hesitating, the fearless king reached out and grasped the luminous Calabash of Knowledge in his hands. As soon as he touched it, he could feel its ancient power and wisdom flowing through him. Turning back towards the golden figure, Oduduwa saw a smile on its face. "Well done, mighty Oduduwa," it said. "You have proven yourself worthy to possess the infinite knowledge inside this calabash. Use it wisely to lead your people well." With those words, the mysterious figure vanished into the clouds. Oduduwa was left alone on the mountaintop, clutching the magical Calabash of Knowledge that he had fought so hard to claim. From that day on, Oduduwa ruled his kingdom with greater wisdom than any king before him. His decisions always led his people to peace and prosperity, and whenever he needed guidance, he simply reached for the calabash to receive the knowledge of the ages. Oduduwa's name became renowned across the land as a truly great and enlightened ruler, all because he had the courage and strength to endure any hardship to attain the most precious knowledge.